If you wanna find me, yeah, I'm in the front row. Got my 2 tickets on me, I'm in the front row. It's the best place to be, I'm in the front row. Best place to be, yeah. If you wanna find me, yo, I'm in the front row. Got my 2 tickets on me, I'm in the front row. It's the best place to be, I'm in the front row. Best place to be, yeah. So what's colder than ice and even hotter than the flame?
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the In the Front Row YouTube channel. We have another full panel on deck. I'm Dylan, and we have a full agenda. Shereen and Kelsey are joining me, so I am excited for that. We're trying to get Fredo on as we speak, but guys, let's jump right into it. And we have a lot to talk about, starting with big news in the NCAA this week, or throughout all this week. This past week, Connecticut was the first football program to postpone their 2020 football season. Then the MAC followed as the first conference to postpone their 2020 fall season in football. Theirs actually got leaked, and then the commissioner approved it, or confirmed it, I should say. And then it broke to the Power 5 conferences, which everybody was waiting on. The Pac-12 and the Big Ten both have postponed their seasons, fall seasons for sports. I believe the Pac-12 goes as far as to the end of the calendar year, so some of basketball will be postponed. Shereen, our Pac-12 expert, can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what the statement said. However, the Big 12 did not feel the same way, guys, and we want to talk about that. The Big 12's president released that he's deciding to play the 2020 season. They will announce their schedule this upcoming Wednesday, consisting of 9 conference games and 1 non-conference game. So I want to get all into it. The SEC and ACC both have not announced a decision. Those decisions will probably come in the next few days. Shereen, I guess we will start with you. Your reaction to all the NCAA madness going on across the landscape.
Okay, so this all falls on Emmert, who's in charge of the NCAA. He did, as our president didn't do with the COVID, neither did the NCAA. They did not publish guidelines. They did not get a consensus. They did not meet with people and make sure that everybody was safe. They left it up to the conferences and the schools. Well, that's chaos. You know, as we saw with the outbreaks and the re-outbreaks and the states that let everybody out and into the bars and into the beach and all that stuff. Same thing's happening here. So Emmert's the guy that I blame, number one. Number two, everybody was waiting for the other person because, first of all these colleges, they wanted their players to sign waivers, right? They wanted to sign waivers. Some schools were testing like once a month. There was no bubble. There was, you know, this is a very highly contact sport. So you've got all these college athletes going, wait a minute, they should treat us like the pros. Like we're kids and we're going to school and we're making money for these schools, and they need to treat us like the pros. So as I previously reported, the Pac-12 players came around, and a consortium of players, starting with the Cal Bears, decided that they were going to put out the statement, "We are united," with a hashtag, and they demanded certain things. They wanted to be tested daily. They wanted assurances that their scholarships were going to be there, whether they played or didn't play. They were asking for a revenue share. They were asking for extra health insurance after they graduate or leave. They were asking for extended scholarships and other things. If you go to Zona Zealots and look up Shereen Rayan, you should be able to find all that information. So I don't know if it's a long story short, but so the MAC came out, the Mid-Atlantic Conference, and they postponed to the spring to see what was going to happen and see if it'll be safe, because they said they wanted it to be safe. So then Larry Scott had been dragging his darn feet because he knew he had to meet with these Pac-12 players. Well, he didn't meet with them till the 6th. And then when he met with them, he was being a total jerk, and he was so tone deaf. Mind you, this man makes $5 million. And he told the players that he thought it was, I want to get you the right words. It was a inadequate, let's see, the players they thought there was inadequate transparency and health risks, but he called it a PR mistake or a PR maneuver. And then he also said if this is about creating generational wealth, you're wasting your time. And then the players asked if they could have lawyers, and then Larry Scott said, well, if you're going to have lawyers, then you're going to be not talking to me, you're going to be talking to our lawyers. And there's a problem because these college students aren't employees. And so employment law doesn't protect them. They really have no protection. They don't have a union. They don't have, they're not in the pros and have a union. They're not employees. So, you know, they wanted to have a voice, and at least they wanted some empathy. But, you know, Larry, with his $5 million salary and $2 million loan from the Pac-12 to buy a house in San Francisco, where he has the headquarters, which is a very expensive place to have the headquarters. They could move it to Tucson or Phoenix or any other Washington, you know, where Washington State is. Is probably rent is probably very low, and he could save money, but he didn't, you know, he screwed up royally with the DirecTV deal. He went ahead and formed his Pac-12 network, but didn't make a deal with the DirecTV, and that was too late. Now you can't even watch it on DirecTV. So people have not been happy with Larry Scott for a long time. So he could have got on and he could have empathized with the players. Instead, he treated them like it was meaningless, the whole conversation. And so then after the meeting, he wrote a letter to the players, and the players wrote a letter back. And I think people were seeing the writing on the wall, because the Big 12 or the Big 10, is it the Big 10 with 14 schools? Those players started, they came out with their own demands, which didn't include this 50% revenue share, which would never have happened. And in 2021, they're going to get their names. They're going to be able to monetize their names according to the NCAA. But they also put out the same type of statement as the Pac-12. And so then everybody was trying to see, okay, does Larry Scott need to still talk to them, or is somebody going to fold? And so the Big Ten folded. I get so confused because there's 14 teams, but it's called the Big Ten. They folded and said, we're going to postpone to the spring. And then the Pac-12, like literally the same day, said, okay, we all voted and we decided unanimously to postpone to the spring. And the biggest thing that happens there, and Kelsey, you were telling me that people in the SEC and ACC were also starting to talk about that.
Yeah, the football players for the SEC, kind of like the top guys, top quarterbacks, top receivers, they were kind of forming like a group, almost like a players association, a collegiate players association to, I guess it sounds like they're doing what's similar to the Pac-12, where those players are able to get together. But I guess SEC runs college football, so those players have a little bit more, they pull a little bit more weight. So yeah, their voices are actually being heard, and I'm guessing that's the reason why the SEC hasn't folded and postponed like the Pac-12. So it seems like the SEC players' voice and argument is being heard a little bit more than the Pac-12 athletes.
Yeah, and it's an interesting time. I do want to say, before the Big Ten canceled in the recent few days, or I believe today, I know at Maryland, part of the Big Ten, they moved from the ACC to a Big Ten probably 4 or 5 years back, a little longer than that. Their starting quarterback opted out. I believe a few linemen opted out, a few defensive players opted out. So there were players already opting out of the season, despite conferences not canceling on, or not canceling their season yet. I wonder how many Big 12 players will decide to opt out. That's going to be something we're going to have to wait to see now that they said they're playing this season. Back to the Pac-12, that exchange, that was a little tone deaf for me. And it was a little, it lacked experience and it lacked empathy. I think these players, like Shereen said, are putting themselves in a very dangerous position to play this year. We don't know where COVID's going to be in a few months when the college season is expected to start. The Big 12 expected to start on September 26th. So you got to realize that's only, a couple months away. We're into August now. So it's, guys, it will come quicker than, it's about a month and a half away. It will come quicker than expected. And we keep saying with COVID, when we first started COVID and first started quarantining, that it was supposed to be, a 2 to 4 week quarantine. I believe Trump shut the country down to, I believe, for 4 weeks.
He never did anything. The governor shut it down.
Well, yeah. Well, didn't Did he put a national lockdown until April 30th?
No, Como and Newsom
Oh,
did it.
yeah, of course he didn't do anything. But
No. What did he do?
That's a whole other
He
conversation.
bought hydroxychloroquine. That's what he bought. And
Well,
he keeps pushing it because he's got this stockpile sitting back there.
My mistake. Newsom put California on a lock until April 30th. It was only supposed to be like a 4-week lockdown. Guys, we're still sitting here in August with dine-in inside still closed. So I can't see how we go from that, especially the Pac-12 is a West Coast conference. I can't see how we go from that to, in a month and a half, playing football. It's going to be –
Dylan, I can't get my lashes done.
That's what I'm saying. It's a
You
little –
have to get your lashes done outside. You have to get your hair cut outside.
yeah.
You know? Like you can maybe cut a man's hair outside, but you can't do the women's hair outside. Like I had 3 weeks where I could get my nails done, my eyelashes done, my I know I'm giving it all up, but you know.
Gotta make it last, right?
So we're seeing that it's still California's moving very, very slowly. I believe California a few weeks, I believe in the beginning of July, opened up for about a couple of weeks, opened bars up, and then cases spiked, so they shut back down again. So to me, it was an insensitive comment. I understand they've since gone and canceled their season and through the end of the calendar year. But I don't see what we've seen with Major League Baseball when you really can't bubble. I know Jeff Passan said from ESPN that the MLB, I believe he was the first one to report it, or he's commented on it a lot. He's the one that I saw on Twitter, saying that the MLB is considering a playoff bubble because we've seen the outbreak in the MLB going from the Marlins to the Cardinals, Juan Soto at the beginning of the year, and football is very difficult to bubble. Is there any way, in your opinion, that college football possibly could do a bubble, considering there's only 10 to 14 teams per conference?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of ramifications that come out of this, right? So if they're not just postponing football, they're postponing basketball and any other fall sport, right?
Yeah, and
that's softball too, and baseball starts. Right?
Volleyball.
I mean, baseball, spring,
basketball.
volleyball, yeah. So there's all these seniors that wanted to get looked at by the NFL by playing. And so those players, some of their parents came out on the Arizona team. There's 2 brothers, the Schooler brothers. The one was playing at Oregon, and he transferred to Arizona. So Colin Schooler and his brother Brendan, I think, or Brendan, they could play together. Their dad came out and said this was sad for them because they don't want to play in the spring. They're going to be working out, getting ready for the NFL. Like, so, you know, there's that aspect. And then the quarterback's dad, Grant Gunnell's dad, came out and he said, we want to play. So there's all these players that want to play. And I get that. I get that they want to play, but they have to also think about their health. And I think, though, if the football players had to live by themselves and not go to class, because they're all on campus at Arizona and Colorado, at least already. I know UCLA's later and USC's later, but Arizona, they're on campus. If they could test them every day like the pros, right, they're much better off. But then they have to have new protocols of who's going to travel and who's not going to travel. And that decision happens on a Friday before the game. But they're going to have to make that decision earlier, you know, and cordon off. I mean, they could do it if they wanted to. But right now, I think the players are just pissed off. Their management sucks. And that came out. And the NCAA doesn't care about the kids, obviously.
And that's what I was my long segment. I was talking. My point was, I think for when the Pac-12 players stick out and say they want multiple things, you know, testing, revenue, I believe it was right in their opinion. If you're going to put yourself in danger playing for your school, making no money,
it was good timing.
Yeah,
I feel like this is kind of showing just how much the players aren't receiving in the NCAA. Because if you look at it, the professional athletes, they don't have a problem playing and putting their health at risk because they're making millions of dollars. Where I can understand, I guess Larry Scott kind of showed his true colors of how he views collegiate athletes, because he, in a sense, he's like, hey, like, you're not getting paid millions of dollars like these professional athletes. Like, I don't need you. I'm going to get the next top recruit from high school. So we use you for 4 or 5 years, and then you're out. And on the player side, you know, being a collegiate player, you know, we I feel like we should get more value for our services. And so I understand what they're trying to fight for, because it's like, okay, I'm putting my health at risk. I might not play professional. So what am I doing this for? You know, for the 5 or 10% who can, who could play and be a professional. Okay, I understand you could probably train in the spring and you're all right. But for the other 95%, what are you going to get? So are you just going to get your scholarship revoked, and you don't, you have no shot at least just having some minimum?
That happens. So here's Larry Scott on the phone saying, "Oh, just don't play. Remember, I said just opt out. Opt out. You're fine. You'll have your scholarship." Well, bullshit, Larry Scott, because Washington State let go and kind of suspended a bunch of players. So that's not the case. So he's lying about that.
You are going to have to come to a compromise when it comes, if you want these players to play. You know, obviously the Pac-12 has postponed their season, but if you want these players like in the Big 12 to play, you're going to have some safety and health protocols that are strict. And moving forward, I do want to correct myself by saying the ACC and the ACC and SEC, the two remaining conferences, their plans are unchanged. I believe they are going to play.
They are unchanged.
Yeah, I said that they hadn't announced a decision. I believe they're still going to play. The ACC, their decision weighed heavily on the Big 12 decision, and once the Big 12 announced to play, now 3 of the 5 conferences, which is a majority, are going to play. I do want to, and remember, even as a professional athlete, they do have the right to opt out. The difference is they're making money. That's obviously the difference.
I do have one more thing. Before you move on. One more thing. So the University of California Academic Senate, which is all the schools that are public, right, in California, which is Cal, UC, and UCLA, and there's one more. USC's private. Cal,
private.
UCLA. Anyway, they back the players 100%. The council proudly stands shoulder to shoulder with the Pac-12 college athletes. We are united. Playing football during a pandemic raised racial and social justice concerns in a sport whose players are primarily Black. UCLA, USC, not USC because they're private, right? But Cal and UCLA. So that would be 2 out of the 12 schools right there. But yeah, that was huge to me. They stood behind them. I said, "Look, Larry, you're being racially profiling these players." So
and we want to move on to the NBA. We will keep you updated with as college football approaches. Like I said, the Big 12 has announced they are going to announce their schedule this Wednesday, and their season's going to start September 26th. That's the current start date right now. We'll see where the country is at that point. We do want to move on to the NBA because the Lakers, guys, we definitely want to bring this up. The Lakers had a final yesterday. Our final score, I should say, beating the Nuggets 124-121. The Nuggets high up in the Western Conference. Guys, your reaction to Kyle Kuzma hitting the clutch shot for the Lakers to beat the Nuggets?
I've always had his back. You know I have. You know, like we're always talking about AD and LeBron. Well, we expect them to be great. But I never wanted the Lakers to get rid of Kyle Kuzma. Right. I knew he was a defensive beast in college because I watched him and reported on him. So I know that because he was a Pac-12 player. And he will come through. You just have to give him a chance. And there's Vogel drawing up the play, decoy, and there's Kuz. 3! I loved it. And those teams were neck and neck. What do you think, Kelsey?
I'm cheering for Kuz, and I'm so happy that he hit the shot. Because I remember he had the great rookie season, breakout rookie season, shocked everybody. Sophomore season, LeBron comes. He kind of was in this limbo state of, am I going to be here? His guys leave, Lonzo, Josh Hart, Ingram. So now he goes from being, I'm with my boys who are 21, 22 to I'm with this one of the probably greatest all-time players where I can't really play around. I had to kind of grow up quick. And you can kind of see he was in a state of, what am I doing? Am I just going to be a regular role player? Am I not going to get to reach that superstar status that I was projected to reach? So I'm happy that he was able to kind of hit that shot and show that, okay, he is who everyone kind of thought he was going to be a year ago, that third best player if we were to get 2 superstars. I think he really needed it. And I think it helps out like the LeBron and ADs because now they know, okay, I have Kuz, he can hit a big shot. We got what's the kid from Miami? I forgot his name. The guard from Miami we just got. Dion Waiters. He's a big time player.
AC was blocking that ball, stealing that ball. Like he was great.
So we have options, and so it helps that we have 3, 4, 5 options. So whoever shows up in the playoffs, we're going to need those when AD and LeBron, they can't get us the wins.
Yeah, I mean, Dwight looked good. JaVale looked good. Everybody, when they miss the ball and they miss a 3, if one of those bigs are down there, they just go back up and get the second chance points. That's how you're going to win. That and free throws, right?
Yes.
The Lakers
back. Didn't Quinn Cook have an awesome game? Or was the game before?
Yeah. I think it might have been the game before. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think he came in and had 21 points. I
Wow.
don't remember which game it was, but I thought Quinn Cook did. And he got, like, a lot of his free throws.
Nice.
I just remember Quinn had a really good game.
Because does he have 1 or 2 championships?
Yeah, I mean, wasn't he with the Warriors?
The Warriors, yeah. So he has some valuable experience that we're going to definitely need down the stretch.
Guys, the Lakers, a huge win yesterday. Kyle Kuzma, 25 points in the win. So putting up numbers, LeBron James, the league at 29, Anthony Davis with 28. Other NBA news, Damian Lillard went off today. 61 points in a win.
Wow.
Against the Mavericks, 134 to 131. I do want to
be a little asterisk for the bubble.
I do want to put this on air just in case it does happen. My brother's been talking to me, and he says he's one of those people that think the Blazers will beat the Lakers in the first round of the playoffs. They get in his season. So I guess we'll see when the NBA – I think they start August 17th. So we will see when the NBA playoffs happen, if it does happen. But Damian Lillard is on a roll.
What was all this stuff with Dame and Skip and
yeah, because he was it 2 or 3 games ago. He was it against the Clippers. Dame missed. So Portland was down 1 with like 15 seconds ago, and Dame gets fouled, and so he gets 2 free throws. So we're like, yeah, he's gonna ice the game. He ends up missing both free throws, and he got a chance to shoot the 3 and missed that one as well. So Skip tore him apart. And ever since then, Dame's been on a tear.
Back to my name.
But Dame said something about Skip tearing apart LeBron. Like Skip told him something off camera about dissing LeBron.
Oh.
Yeah, there was a whole Twitter thing. You got to look it up. But they were all dissing Skip. Dame called him out.
They say he'll never respect him, right? He'll never have his respect.
Yeah. Respect my name. That's the clean version. We can't say the word he actually said.
Why not? It's the internet. What did he say, Dylan? Come on,
Dylan.
What did he say, Dylan? Come on.
Y'all need to look it up. I don't know.
No, this is the internet. We're not on ABC. Like, what did he say?
He said,
throw in the cut.
He said, He said,
I made his face pink.
I don't know. I don't want to curse on the internet.
What did he say? I want it in the tone. Give me the tone.
My mom probably watches this. I don't want to say it. Look it up.
That's fine. Come on.
It's over now.
You're a professional.
We have to take a break. He said, I can't say it on the internet. I'm a good man. All the time. But anyway, guys, we take a break. Come in. We're going to do the artist spotlight. So we are excited for that. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back, guys, to the In the Front Row YouTube channel. We have another artist spotlights, and we have Notch joining us. We are so excited. Kelsey, I know you're going to kick us off here with the interview, so go ahead and ask the first question.
Hey, Notch. So thank you for coming on the show. How are you feeling right now?
I feel great. Amidst all the COVID, I'm doing okay.
Nice. So we want to get to know you. Obviously we support SoCal artists. So take us where it all started. And with me being Nigerian, I got a little bit of insider that you kind of grew up with Nigerians. So we are pretty unique. So kind of take us from the beginning of how you kind of got into the music game as a kid.
Oh, well, it wouldn't have anything necessarily to do with my stepfather. He was Nigerian.
Mm-hmm.
And I was basically, I was raised by him. So, it had a huge impact on my education because, Nigerians are very strict, when it comes to education, as you know, right? Basically, I think that the end of the question was about my early influence.
Right.
The early influence for me was like a Tupac. Basically Tupac, Missy Elliott. I used to like 50 Cent, Eminem. Pretty much that, yeah.
Eminem, his lyrics to me sometimes are very funny and most of the time are very meaningful. I got a lot of, in the beginning, I wasn't really a rap, into rap. I'm so into rap now because I listen to the words and I'm learning a lot about culture and what people think and what they want to say. And to me, it's like poetry to a beat. Do you feel like
that's exactly what it is? It is poetry to a beat. Like if you get an actual rapper, sometimes you get the mumble rappers, and sometimes they actually say something too. But if you actually get somebody who's an artist, you're gonna hear a story most of the time. And I mean, it's very, very poetic.
Well, I can't tell you how many times
I started off writing poems.
Yeah.
I actually started off, I used to do it at school, like in all my free time, I would just write poems. Like I had books and books and books that should have been all math problems.
That's amazing.
That should have been math and, all the other things, but they were all poems.
Wow. Yeah, that's really huge. That's really huge. So you named a bunch of artists that actually kind of grabbed me. Coming from a Nigerian household, I kind of was listening to this music. My parents didn't know about it. So like the Eminems and Missy Elliott's, those are some lyrical artists. So you mentioned about your poem. So how would you say your style is? Would you say your style is kind of like a mixture of all that? Or were you able to kind of develop your own style from listening to them?
I definitely would say it's a mixture of but I do have my own style. But I'm very versatile. So when you listen to my music, you might hear this one time and then hear an actual full-on rap. Then you might hear like some reggaeton type music. I'm all over the place, but it all sounds like it's on one plane.
So I'm interested to hear about your creative process and kind of how that goes. So when you're sitting down to write the music or write the rap that you are rapping, what's your creative process like? What goes into that? Does it need to be a dark room? Does it need to be, certain things happening? What's your creative process like?
Definitely like a dark room. I definitely like a dark room. I don't know why, but I like to feel alone or by myself. Unless it's a party type vibe, but even if it's a party type vibe in the studio, I still like to be in a dark booth, which is really weird now that you mention it.
Well, it kind of puts you doesn't it put you in a meditative state a little bit?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So
I didn't even think
kind
of it like that.
Even get spiritually, invigorated that way.
I want everything else quiet. I would just want to focus on my thoughts, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay. So
I actually have strayed away from actually writing, but I need to go back. He disappeared. I strayed away from the writing, and I kind of I do write, but it's like record write.
Okay, so you're going to that stage of the Lil Waynes and the Jay-Z.
And then think about it, record another few bars.
I think that's kind of like that next stage, right? Like the Lil Waynes and Jay-Z's, they just they had a bunch of notebooks, they wrote everything, and then they just one day just like, I'm not writing anymore.
Right. That's kind of how it happened for me.
No, okay, nice. So you kind of told us about, how you started in terms of just the pure love for it. You let us know about your creative process. Tell us about how you got the name Notch, and what was kind of like your big break in your mind. It doesn't have to be like the traditional big break, you know, but what was like your moment of like, okay, I've actually somewhat broken into this music industry to actually be a performer?
Well, so when I first started rapping, I didn't have beats. So I started making my own beats.
Wow.
I would make my own beats, and I would rap on my own beats, and then I would teach other people how to rap and record. I would rap, record, make beats. I would do everything by myself.
Wow.
And then I ended up, my best friend, her dad was like a bodyguard or something.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow he got my music to, like, he worked with Suge Knight, Big U, all these people or whatever. He got my music somewhere. And I ended up going out to Vegas to meet with this guy who wanted to hear my music. At the time, I didn't know who he was. But today he's Molly Mall. Molly Mall, the guy, you know, he does everything, you know. He's a big time producer. So at the time I didn't know who he was. I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's like, you're gonna go meet who? Molly Mall. The only Molly Mall I knew was the one that Notorious B.I.G. said something about Magic Molly Mall. So we go out there, and then, you know, when we get to the gate, I realize, oh, this is some real shit. It looks like a nice house, you know?
Yeah. Wow.
We get there. It's the biggest studio I had ever been in. And he came and sat down and asked us to make a song off of one beat. And he literally left and took a flight and came back in 2 days. And when he came back, he wanted to hear the song. So he heard the song, and then he was like, let's sign a record deal.
Wow.
I got my first record deal under Blue Magic Music, which was under Interscope at the time. We actually were recording with Nipsey, and because Big U was part owner of the record label, and he had Nipsey Hussle. So we were all under one umbrella, which was pretty cool. Yeah, so that was my big thing.
Wow.
So what did you learn the most from people at that company? Like on your record label, what kind of things did they want you to change what you were doing, or they just wanted you to be you, or?
They mostly wanted us to be us. I learned things could move fast because for 1 minute because I was homeless. I was living in a hotel.
Oh my gosh.
And I went there and we were in a mansion. And then he bought us a freaking, the thing that you go on the road and tour with.
Tour bus.
I was just one of their first artists on the label.
Wow.
Then also me and my best friend, Lady. And then we were on the radio. We were freaking at the top clubs in Las Vegas performing. Everything just happened quick. I learned things can change quick. But they did let us be ourselves.
That's fantastic. Anybody you bumped into there that or that gave you some advice, or you picked something up on? Like you said, Nipsey was part of the label. Did you ever get to talk to him, or?
Not no. Just more so, not like to the point where he's giving me some type of advice, no. But I mean, we did songs with Sean Kingston, we performed with all the top people at the time, but mostly just people just watching us as women in the industry, you know, and just kind of really I made a lot of beats for everybody. It was a wonderful experience.
As far as females to pattern yourself, well, not that you want to be like somebody else, but right now, like who's very popular? Who do you want to do different music than you're doing now, or do you like what you're doing and you just want to be you? Like, is there somebody that you're like, oh, I really want to do a song like that, or?
Nope.
You be you.
Nice. Only.
Stupid question.
I don't see it.
You don't see yourself with tassels and your boobs hanging out and.
No.
So no
I
Cardi
mean,
B.
you know, maybe for a picture being cute, but no, that's not me.
I was just kidding around.
So I went out.
Like the WAP thing. You talking about WAP?
Yeah, I'm talking about WAP.
Oh yeah.
That couldn't be me. I'm so happy that could be them, but it definitely couldn't be me.
Right. I love how it, honestly, look at me. Like, what am I talking about, right? But I still feel empowered. The fact that I think somebody was Ben Shapiro, that right-wing nut job. He was saying the lyrics. And as he was saying, I'm like, I bet you want some, huh?
Yeah. No, I'm all for it. I'm all for the movement, especially with okay, at first I would not be for the movement. Like, okay, that's just a little ratchet, you know?
Yeah.
At the same time, me going through things that I've went through with men, you know, it's like, hell yeah, F you, you know, yeah.
Yeah, we want ours too.
Yeah,
Walker said it right.
Yeah, it's empowering, like, yeah, you know?
I know you said in the beginning a few artists who inspired you, and you listed a few. I don't know if this question's been asked because I went out for a second and I'm back. But if you had to pick any artists to tour with post-COVID, who would it be?
Missy Elliott and probably Drake.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
That would be nuts. Missy Elliott was
bananas, okay? Drake, Missy Elliott.
I think Notch, Drake, LeBron, and Dylan need to have some wine. Dylan's big thing is he wants to have wine with LeBron, but I can see the four of you having a very interesting conversation.
I can see that. Nice. So you got your introduction into the music industry. It kind of goes fast. You kind of got a quick education on the game. So now that you kind of have all like this knowledge, and how are you going to do it your way now, or like what's kind of like your vision of how you want to execute your career now with all that you know?
It's been a long road. Like it's been a long road. Ups and downs, fake people, bad business, not good managers. You know, it's been a lot of ups and downs. So now at this point, to be honest, if it's not, I need the right people. You have to deal with the right people. And if I can't deal with the right people, then I can't see myself actually, like, I would just be on the internet making my music and releasing my music on my own. Like, I'd rather spare myself the trouble because the industry is a freaking monster. Mm-hmm. If you don't have legit people that are, like, wholehearted and, like, really there to get this music to the world and not just, I've had my music stolen.
Oh my.
I've had money stolen.
Wow.
I've had like people like kind of low-key blackball me so they can, for their own benefit. I've had all kind of stuff happen, you know? So for me, my peace, my mind is way more important than that. Mm-hmm. But I can never stop doing music. So unless it's with good people, then you'll just see me releasing music on the internet.
Okay.
Oh, that's been successful for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, you know, I mean full-fledged. I mean, like, I'll be independent, completely independent. That's what I mean to say. I'll be completely independent.
If you can have your own label.
Yeah, which I already have, the LA Network.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What would your advice be for people who are trying to get into this industry? It's been a long road. So if people are looking just to start to get in the industry, what are some warning signs that, since the industry is such a monster, that maybe they should look out for?
First thing you need to worry about is like your manager. Your manager, you need to make sure has your best interests at hand. No other ulterior motives, you know? I mean, you know, vibes. People knew. I knew when I was coming up what was wrong, but I stuck around too long. You know, you don't want to stick around when you're hoping that if you get to hear it will change. I would give the advice to follow your first mind. If it don't seem right, it's probably not right. Don't sign no contract. If they don't seem genuine, they're probably not genuine. Don't bring them along. Don't be loyal to the wrong people. Loyalty will damage your career. Because if you're loyal to the people that are not loyal to you, you'll end up being screwed. Cause I'm a loyal person, so I just stick with people just because, oh, well, you helped me get my first record deal or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you helped me get my first record deal, but then you also helped me lose my first record deal, or you helped me, and then after that you kept, just pay attention and follow your first mind.
Wow, you know what, that is, I kind of got chills when you said that, because so many people kind of have they call Jay-Z like a snake, kind of what he did with Dame Dash. And I kind of did my research, and a lot of people said that Dame Dash, he got Jay-Z a lot of business, but he also burned a lot of bridges. So it's interesting that you say that, like, hey, like, it's kind of,
yeah, you gotta watch it, because I believe that's what happened with me, and I hate to say it.
Well, the sports industry is a lot like that. I've been screwed by so many people that I trusted, and I wanted to trust them, and you knew in the back of your head, but you see that, well, here's a path to learning, and the whole thing is about learning. So you're completely educated now.
It's like, okay.
And it must be difficult, being a woman and seeing certain women are acting a certain way, right? And you're like, I've been in that situation in the entertainment industry where I'm.
So then I feel like a madam. I feel like I'm a madam because I'm in a crew of all guys, and
Right. So I'm an executive with a bunch of male executives, and then these women are flirting with the married executives sitting next to me.
Yeah. I literally felt like a female pimp or something. Like, like, I'm bringing all these girls back, and like, I see it. I used to see it every night. It's crazy.
I went to a club I went to go see Rotimi with two of my friends who play basketball, and they're really tall and everything. Of course, the women were hitting on them, and I'm in the same booth, right? So this one woman, she looked at me and said, well, who are you?
That happened to me before.
Like, what, who am I? Like,
right.
I'm the sugar mama. At
a New Year's Eve party, and the girl, she's like trying to sit next to Molly Mall. I'm like, oh God, you want to sit next to Molly Mall? Like, go sit next to him. And she's like, I'm sitting right there. So she's like, who are you? I'm like, yo, get this girl out of here, Like, get this girl out of here, bye, get this girl out of here.
You feel like flicking a fly or a flea,
yeah, like,
no
oh,
way.
Wow. Like, girl, I want you to sit next to him. It's sad. It really is sad, though, to see that.
Yeah, well, the players said, Shereen, you don't need to answer that.
Oh,
like, her mind went directly to Sugar Mama, and she didn't think maybe I was their manager, maybe I was their agent,
Whoever I am. I could be an
doesn't matter.
Aunt or anything. Whoever I am, who are you? You're just another groupie, like the 5-10 groupies I just seen an hour ago. What are you talking about?
I know you're number 5 who's hit on him.
Right, exactly.
So
anyway, we went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, bringing it back here, I guess we have to wrap up soon. So what's next for you, for your fans that are listening? What's coming up in the next few months?
And how do we find you?
Yes.
You can find me anywhere at TOPNOTCHBLUMM. That's Topnotchblumm, anywhere. You can find me on SoundCloud, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. And what's coming up for me next is I'm working on a project. So I got a project. I do want to release a full project for my fans and the people that do support me, because I do feel like I kind of let them down going on a break for a year. But I really need to spiritually cleanse, The
best artists go on breaks. The best artists.
Yeah, I had to take a break,
Adele's been gone for years.
Yeah, I feel like you need to take care of yourself. If you care about people, you should take care of yourself. So I had to take care of myself. But I do want to release a project, a solid project. And then also, I'm planning on building a music studio within the next few months.
That's so cool.
That's awesome. Go ahead and follow her on Instagram, and go find her on those other platforms as well. Thanks for joining us. At the end of the show, we do something called shout outs. We want you to stick around because we want you to get your shout out ready. Shereen, we're gonna come to you first. Where's your shout out going this week?
Oh my gosh. My shout out is to Kamala Harris, the VP candidate, the soon to be vice president of these United States. I'm very happy about the selection. I know it's not sports related, but even my little doggy was excited when we said the selection. We were all excited, and the dog was running around barking. So you can find that on my TikTok, Sports Crazy with 2 E's. So yes, I shout out to Kamala and Joe Biden for picking her.
Yep.
Nice.
I'll see your mic back on.
Yeah, I'm back on. Yeah.
You ready to give a shout out?
Yeah, so I'm gonna give a shout out to Austin Rivers. I know he's probably one of those most hated people, but he's I think a couple years younger than me. So I remember when he was like the #1 player in high school. He was supposed to be like the #1 pick. You know, he did his thing at Duke, and he kind of like didn't pan out the way people wanted him to, or he was expected to. So I like that he's been on having like 3 or 4 great games. And he's kind of showing flashes of what everyone kind of expected him to be. I like those dark horses.
Yeah, I think people had a problem with him only because he was playing for his dad.
Yeah.
His dad's like, crap, I'm an NBA coach. Let me give my son a chance. I would have
Why
too.
wouldn't you?
I would have too.
Notch,
He saw the potential in his son.
we're going over to you as our guest. Where's your shout out going?
I want to just give a shout out to all my fans and supporters, the people that support me in music and life in general. Just shout out to them.
That is awesome.
Nice.
Guys, my shout out this week, I shouted them out, I think about 2 shows ago. It's going to the Phoenix Suns. They are still undefeated.
Yeah, America's team.
America's team.
New America's team. Last time I talked about them, they were 3-0. They've won 4 more in a row, guys. They're 7-0. We will see what happens if they get into the playoffs. Also, I did want to give a shout out to one of my role models, Marcus Sherman. He's a baseball player. He opted out of the season today, and it kind of made me sad. But I respect the decision with everything going on. Guys, we do have to wrap the show up for you, and you can catch us on YouTube all the time, so go ahead and subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can be notified when we post these episodes. Go ahead and follow us on social media. Notch, thanks for joining us for the Artist Spotlight.
Thanks for having me.
For joining
You're
me.
welcome.
Thanks for coming.
Guys, we will see you next time.
Follow the Suns account because they're hilarious on Twitter. They are hilarious.
The Suns account?
Yeah, the Suns
gotta
account.
tag me
They're
in it.
very funny.
Yep, guys,
All
see you.
right. All right.
Bye, Dylan. Bye, Notch.
In the front row. If you wanna find me, yo, I'm in the front row. Got 2 tickets on me, I'm in the front row. The best place to be, I'm in the front row. So what's colder than ice and even hotter than a flame? I be in the front row, chilling at a booth.